He's an award-winning actor. You'll know him from Boat Story, from Peep Show, from Wonka, the most recent incarnation, as well as being the best-selling author of The Secret Diaries of Charles Ignatius Sancho. He finds time to be Chancellor of Oxford Brookes University. My goodness, the list goes on. But his first children's book is a beaut. It's 10 Children Who Changed the World. It's out now. His name is Paterson Joseph. Welcome, Paterson Joseph.
Thank you, Ryan. What a lovely welcome.
No, honestly, congratulations on all you've achieved thus far. But it's the book I want to focus on for now.
Sure.
Because you have given this lovely gift to the world of history. Race is discussed in there. People who have been hidden in the shadows of history. It's their time to be seen. But also kids, 10-year-olds. This is there's someone. Take us to the genesis of all of this.
Well, I love Marvel. I was introduced to Marvel about the age of 5. My dad was obsessed with it.
Really?
Him and his Jamaican mate Lloyd, and they'd always go, Thor is just like the Bible, and like Shakespeare. And I'd never heard about Shakespeare until then. I thought, who's this fella? So I am obsessed with words, always have been. And I thought, what would it be like to put words into the mouth of these kids who have been, as adults, great achievers, but were obscure kids? What were they thinking? And origin stories in the Marvel universe are everything, right?
Yes, yeah.
So how did they become doctors, lawyers? How did they become activists, actors, poets? That's what I was interested in, given the toughness of their situation. And the main thing, I suppose, I've been talking to about 2,000 kids in different schools in the last couple of weeks, is to say, no matter how tough your situation is, children will always find a way, Ryan, to connect with each other, to play. You think about, bomb sites after the Second World War. Kids were just playing in there.
There's a resilience there, isn't there?
Absolutely. In any situation, kids will always find some sort of way of being optimistic and hopeful. So all of these stories are like that.
You're talking like you're a great teacher, and I think that's the key to this, is that, like I always say, a great teacher will bring history alive and a bad teacher will kill it at birth. And
that's very good.
But you know this from yourself, from your old school days.
I do. But see, look, the thing is that human beings don't really work that way. We don't work with numbers and statistics. We work with stories.
We love stories.
So I can tell you about 1066, but what I'm interested in is not whether William the Conqueror did this or did that, or it's what he had for breakfast. And whether he had a jippy tummy. And that's why he waited until whatever time to go out to battle, and then he won. That's the quirky kind of detail I like. I'm a storyteller, so I want a story. I don't want to just tell people facts, because we don't remember it. It's not interesting.
Your book alights on a collection of stories. So how did you decide who made the grade? You probably had to leave a few behind for the next volume.
Don't tell me about the next volume. I've already stressed enough about getting this one out. No, but I think it was about making them various enough, because we've got a poet in there, Phyllis Wheatley, the first African-American person to be published as a poet, and it was here in Britain, even though she was from America. There's Ira Aldridge, first actor who was actually black to play Othello. Riots. There were riots after the show. This is in the middle of the 1800s. And I wanted stories like John Edmonston, who taught Darwin how to do taxidermy. And Darwin writes about him. I spent 90 hours with this man and I've learned so much. And he's from South America. Was what was interesting to me. Where is the hook of the story? That was the main thing.
And there were people who are very important cogs in the chain. I mean, the first, as you say, Black Othello, causing riots in a way that, in certain depictions of Irish people on the stage in Dublin will cause a riot, and did in the 20th century, early 20th century. Art can be very provocative. In a case like that.
I mean, it's like music and theatre and the creative arts and novels. They seep into you. It's you usually experiencing it. There's nobody mitigating it. There's nobody telling you what you should be thinking. You just experience it. You like it, you don't like it, but it can get into your bones. And I think that's the way that art, and that's why art is so dangerous. Why did the new president of the United States try to get hold of the Kennedy Center and rule it? Because he knows that good art does speak truth to power, not in a fancy way, but just in a sort of subliminal way. And that's really, to me, I'm not a politician. That's the way that I convey what I'm concerned about.
I'm laughing because he's essentially replacing, Hamilton was Phantom of the Opera. Now, that's up to, you can decide what you do with that if you will, but it says something about somebody.
I think it really
You can
does.
have both, but they're both great musicals.
Exactly.
Come on, you know that.
There's room for everything.
There's a bit of that. But there's also, what I loved about your book was this idea of shining a light in the shadows of history and saying, right, that person got forgotten because of maybe the colour of their skin or their background or the country they came from. We lose these people.
Yeah.
Unless you come along and pluck them out, in which case here we are.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just a sort of schlubby actor who's found all this stuff. Said, hey, look at all this great treasure. Let's do something.
It is treasure, exactly.
Yeah, and then I think, this is our story. It's the story of our nation and not just the story of black people. And we should all be interested in it because it's a wider view. Talk about spotlight. It sort of brings colour as well to our sort of sepia image of the past.
Of course, we mentioned that lovely museum I went to see recently in the Docklands here in London.
Oh, the Chatham Docks. So I was there yesterday with Newsround.
Brilliant.
Doing a bit,
Newsround is still on the go, which is great.
It is, yeah. Celebrated 50 years a couple of years ago. Yeah, that's right.
And that's a great museum that brings the story alive as well. Of the river and commerce and race and prejudice and when things go right and wrong. It's a brilliant museum.
And of course, that every port town had everybody there.
Yes.
And because the British Navy and the merchant seamen all were from everywhere, they all gathered together. So you've got all of this Arabian sailors, Indian sailors, Lascars as they call them, a load of Irish sailors, African sailors, and free black people from America and the Caribbean. What an eclectic mix that
UN
was.
Sir Mayor.
Yes.
Stay with us. We've got loads more to talk about. Our guest, Paterson Joseph. His book is called 10 Children Who Changed the World. We're loving it. Back in a minute. All right, it's Stereophonics. Nice old tone. Do you like that, Paterson?
I do.
Yeah,
I
maybe
do.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have to do the interview finish the interview that we were allowed to do on air, which is the rest of our conversation as opposed to what we were doing off air. Our guest is Paterson Joseph. 10 Children Who Changed the World. You grew up in the Irish community.
I did.
Of Cricklewood.
I was largely raised by
London.
the Irish.
Yeah, that's so weird. It's funny.
The first I was at school, Catholic school, in Wilston Green called Jesus and Mary Convent, shout out. But they were all Irish, and I was the only black kid.
How did that happen?
Well, I think it was because, you're talking about 1968 now, there weren't a lot of Caribbean people in Wilston. They might have been in Brixton and some in Notting Hill and Harlesden, but in Wilston, in Cricklewood, not so many.
You're an outlier.
I was an outlier for about a year and a half, and then two beautiful black girls came. And I got on with everybody. There was obviously initial bit of bullying and stuff, but I dealt with that very easily, and it was all very peaceful. But what they used to do is they say, I remember Maurice O'Connell going, I saw a James Bond film last night, and I was like, film?
Film. There are two syllables in film.
And I was really struggling. But I was already struggling with language because we spoke Creole in the house until I was 3. I didn't know this till I was 30, but I was always desperate. That's why I speak so weirdly. Desperate to listen and how a word said. And film, what's that? What did you mean?
Film, yeah. And car.
And car. And they cornered me one day. There's about 7 or 8 of them and said, say axe. Listen to how he says it. And I get ask. And they went, and after hearing how he says it, ask like that.
But it's funny. I was talking to somebody else with Caribbean heritage, and they were saying we are very similar in terms of, I don't know, so the way we speak or storytelling. I don't know what it is.
Well, Cromwell blamed Cromwell.
Cromwell, here we go again.
Somebody said to me the other day, no one was called Oliver in Ireland for about 200 years.
That's right.
So Cromwell is on a genocidist, actually. I would correct that he's a hero of Britain, and he just threw them all to the Caribbean, and they died in their thousands, of course, burning in the sun. But that's why we say, have you seen my car?
Yeah.
And if somebody from Cork might go, you got a car, and then we go, thief.
Yeah.
He thief my money. He thief my money.
So that's we're into the 33 and a third thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. The TH becomes a thief becomes a T. It's a funny thing. So
it's also the crack. It's like sitting down, chatting. That's if you go to Caribbean. I was in St. Lucia where my parents come from recently. People just love to chat, sit and chat and drink a bit and chat and dance and chat. And it's Irish.
We're brothers. We're brothers.
We're
really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's the 3 C's: Cricklewood, Caribbean, and Cromwell, all there together. You being this, I just want to mention the fact that you were Slugworth in the most recent Wonka. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
How was that experience? Slugworth is a bit of he's an interesting character.
He's a nasty piece of work. It's probably why I wrote this book. So say, kids, look, I'm a nice guy, really. It was the most fun because I had all my mates from me, all the people who'd done comedy in the 90s were all shoved into it.
Sure.
Paul King is just a great, loyal person. It was fun. Timothy Chalamet was a terrific guy to work with because he didn't have any Hollywood about him. He's half French. That probably explains it.
That helps, yeah.
And it was just fun to create with the 2 Matts, Bainton and Lucas, who are just geniuses. So I felt safe. I mean, there was a bit where I was throwing a baby down a laundry chute. Sorry, spoiler. And I said, "Oh, Paul, can I just have a look and see if the baby hit the?" He said, "No, just walk away." It's like, oh, my heart. But I did enjoy playing the villain. Of course you do.
I'd imagine if I was an actor, being the villain is probably one of the most fun things to.
Unfortunately, it's joyous
to do.
Yeah.
You're Chancellor of Oxford Brookes University. We mentioned that too. That must
yes,
be
the human mascot. Yes.
The human mascot.
Well, it's what it is, isn't it? It's a role.
Ceremonial. Is that
yes,
what you
exactly.
mean?
It's designed to sort of, hey, look, you know this face, and I'm not. But actually, my job is to be a bit nosy and say, why aren't you doing art? Because it was the Oxford School of Art when it started.
Okay.
100 years ago, and then it became a technical college, and now Formula One, it's their go-to college for their technicians, which is fine. But we're cutting music. This is all universities, not just Oxford Brookes.
Yes.
We're cutting music. We're cutting the arts. We're cutting English. We're cutting, filmmaking. Why would you do that? Yeah. Because we all love to watch, our streamers, and we all love entertainment. Where's it coming from if we only do STEM? We need a bit of STEAM, as the Scandinavians call
like
it.
that.
Put the art in there.
A bit of both, STEAM and STEM, yeah. And also we got to protect the dreamers and the creators and the creatives in the face of AI and technology, because you got to have soul.
We waffle on about we've the Beatles and Shakespeare and Julia Donaldson, who writes with kids. Yeah. Where are they coming from if they're all just technicians? We can't have one thing. We must have everything. Why not? We are a creative nation. It's
so true. 10 Children Who Changed the World is the book, and that is, as you call it on the cover, Stories from Black History. It's a really brilliant book that I think that's going to inspire and guide and educate people from all backgrounds and all ages. I know you focus on the age of 10, but when I was reading it as somebody 10 plus tax, like 52 years old, I was reading it going, I'm learning so much. And sometimes when history can be so convoluted, and if books are written with too much detail, if you like, your book is for kids. But I think adults reading with kids or even on their own will learn a lot, as much as I did. So well done. Great achievement.
Storytelling history, that's the best way, I think, for it to go in. And there's some facts at the end, but actually, even so, I want to entertain first.
Yeah, well, you've done that. You've achieved a mission accomplished, what I'm saying.
Thank you.
All right, Paterson Joseph of Cricklewood and beyond, thank you for your time today. Lovely to see you.
Pleasure, Ryan.
Thank you so much.